moving on to volume 2. Volume 2 starts off with this old, large, bald guy stalking this girl who's just going home. The girl is obviously scared because, I mean, what are you gonna do when you see someone with like I don't even know what the fuck is going on with the eye. I'm gonna walk up to you. Like, what are you gonna do in that situation? Are you gonna talk to it, or are you just gonna run? Me personally, I'm gonna run. That's just me. So yeah, the girl runs into her apartment, and then, you know, talks to mom and everything. Mom touches the door, and everything, but the window isn't locked. Old bald, large dude, infected guy breaks through the window, and all he wanted to say was sorry. Why did he just want to say sorry? Huh? Figure that out literally like in the next chapter. We cut to an interrogation room where Ken, the goat, is talking to an older investigator, and the older investigator recognizes him. And that's when we figure out that this dude's name is Misaki. Now, let me talk to you guys about Misaki. Previously, I felt a little guilty. I felt very guilty about the guy. Let's just say, what I'm about to say definitely made me change my mind. The old guy, the old investigator, recognizes Misaki from an old case. Misaki kidnapped a 4th grader, raped her, and recorded it. This motherfucker recorded it. Why did he record it? Let me tell you why. He recorded it to send it to the girl's grandfather. Huh? Volume 2 is wild. And it only gets wilder from here. Like, why would you do that? Who does such a thing? Who willingly does that? And what? Oh God! Wanna know what makes it worse? Wanna know what makes it so much worse? The girl he kidnapped and raped was mute for the rest of her life because she was so traumatized. And I'm like, why would you do that? Who does that? Why? God, it's messed up. It's really messed up. But yeah, needless to say, I honestly had no sympathy for him after that. And want to know what's crazy? This is all we figure out about this dude. We don't figure out anything else other than the fact that he can draw and that he went to a recording art school, I think. That's all we know so far. Well, I know a lot more than you probably know. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Next part of the volume, we are shown that the parasite, the virus, I didn't say it in volume 1 of this recording, but the disease parasite is filariasis. It's like a worm thing that that like mosquitoes carry, inject, when they suck blood, they give you the parasite, and it's like a large worm that grows, and it infects your eyes and pretty much takes away your desire for honestly anything. So yeah, I just want to get that out of the way because I didn't explain it in the previous volume because this is important. But yeah, we see that it's spreading by them showing a mother, in the kitchen, normal things, cutting up dinner, just chopping stuff up, completely normal. And then her son comes into the room and she's like, mom, something, what is for dinner? I don't know, I can't really remember what he says, but then it cuts to the mom not cutting up cucumbers. She was indeed not cutting up any vegetable. She was cutting up her fingers. Honestly, I kind of guessed that it was her fingers because, what else? It's a manga about a parasite. and a disease and a virus and everything like that. So it wasn't really all that shocking because I kind of guessed that she was already cutting up her fingers. But anyway, this will be important for way later. We cut to Ken and Niall in the office, chilling, still investigating. But then, hear me out. Ken has a thought. Now hear this man out. There's a reason why he's the best character in this entire manga. I'm just gonna say it right now. He's looking at a photo of Yoshido's mom, and then he looks at a photo of Yuchi. They look very similar together. Keep up. Because they look very similar to one another, he recalls back to when the old investigator was talking about Masaki and the whole, girl, the kidnapping and everything like that. So he thinks, hold on, wait a second. Masaki wanted to say sorry. What was Yoshido saying to Yuchi as Yoshido was approaching Yuchi? Mama. It's crazy. So then he puts the pieces together and it's like, hold on, wait a second. What if, and this is the big what if, yeah, the parasite takes away desire, but what if it leaves the one desire to make amends with the ones that you have hurt? Because recall, Yoshido was a gambling addict and he abused his mom and dad for money because he was a gambling addict. Crazy. It's a crazy theory, but honestly, it's kind of believable. It's very believable, actually. And to be honest, my whole thoughts about this is that while I was reading it, it felt like a massive stretch because it's such an outrageous theory, and it's like, I didn't even think of that, but the evidence is there. It's very outlandish. Ken and Nio go and investigate the whole situation that happened between Yuchi and Yoshido back in the first chapter of the first volume, where they have a run-in with one another. Yuchi pushes Yoshido over and killing him. But then these public health inspectors come up to him and they are curious, where did Yuchi go after the altercation? Keep in mind, I don't know if I mentioned this in the first volume because that first part of the video is a complete mess. But Yuchi, after he pushed him and killed the dude, ran and he dropped his phone. So the investigators have his phone. So Nio, the goat, comes up with the idea of, let's check his phone. They find out he went to his girlfriend's place. Keep that in mind. They then cut back quickly to an apartment where they see a swarm of mosquitoes. Now, in mind, it is December. If you live in a place that's heavily, with it's heavy with mosquitoes, like me, I live in Florida. It's mosquito central out here, especially when it gets to the summer. But now it's winter because it's early January. Mosquitoes normally aren't out during winter, so keep that in mind. A little bit later, Ken, Nio, and the health department dudes go to the apartment and realize there's an outbreak. How do they know? Because Ken saw the little boy from earlier on with the mother that was cutting up her fingers. He's infected because his eye. Ken notices this, so what does he do? He quickly runs into the apartment, and guess what happens? He gets stabbed in the foot. Not willingly. No one stabbed him. The knife fell from the counter and fell in his foot. That's not good. The knife is the one that the mother used to cut her fingers. Nio also went in after him to go check on the boy. She grabs the boy and brings the boy to the hospital. But while they head downstairs, Nio sees Ken and the knife in his foot, and she starts to panic. And everything like that. And pretty much what Ken does is she slaps the shit out of her. Not really, but tells her, hey, get your fucking head together, because we can't be having this. We can't be having this during this entire thing. While all this is going on, the health inspectors, guys, are just looking around, checking around the apartment, and then they see a shit ton of mosquitoes. Now, they decide to investigate, and it was all coming from one particular room. Interesting. So, what was their plan? Their plan was to investigate the room and see what happened. See why are there so many mosquitoes in the middle of winter? Because this is like early December. I think it said it's December 10th around this time. So they investigate apartment by pretty much bombing the apartment. But while they are bombing the apartment, they hear a noise coming from within the room. Now, keep in mind, they made sure that there wasn't anyone in there previously. So them hearing a noise come from the room is a little off-putting. So what do? They open the door. And I kid you not, this is the most disturbing thing that I've ever seen in this manga so far. Guess who the hell it is? I'll give you 5 seconds. Got it? Okay, cool. You might be right, you might be wrong. But it is Yuichi's girlfriend, and she is covered in mosquito bites. She's crawling out of the thing. It is disgusting. Horrifyingly disgusting. So then they take her to the hospital to do some tests on her. After they take her to the hospital, then they decide to investigate the apartment. And this is going to be a massive mouthful, what I'm about to explain here. So pretty much when they go into the apartment, it's riddled with dead mosquitoes because they bombed the place. And then one investigator decides to, look around, of course, because that's what investigators do. While he's investigating, he notices that there's a fish. Now, this fish in this tank is dead, and it's riddled with mosquitoes. But he recognizes the fish. The fish is some type of fish. I can't remember the name of the fish, but the fish is some type of fish from Australia, where normally mosquitoes pretty much put their larvae in. So what happened is that Yuichi's girlfriend got the fish. It's an expensive fish, by the way. Got the expensive ass fish from Australia, got it shipped over here during the spring or summer. And because it was during that time, and because it was winter, it was hot in the apartment, the larva in that fish hatched. And that's how all of that started in the apartment. First things first, I'm gonna say this. Why in the world would you buy a fish, not take care of it, an expensive fish, not take care of it? Like, she did not have any filter in the fish tank. The fish tank is bare. The only thing that you can see in there is just a fish. I'm going to show a photo from earlier in the manga where they actually show the fish, where it's not dead and covered with mosquitoes. Yeah. Why would you do that? I'm a cheap ass person. I'm not gonna buy a fish and just not take care of it. I'm not gonna buy anything living and just not take care of it. Even with a plant. I'm not gonna buy a flower and not take care of it because I bought it. What's the point of buying something if you're not going to use it? That's like saying, oh, I bought a notebook, I'm gonna throw it in the trash. That makes no sense. Oh, I'm gonna buy a candle. And I'm just gonna use it as a prop. I'm gonna use it as decoration. I have a candle back there. That I was trying to burn earlier. I can't find a lighter. But you get what I mean. It's stupid. So literally, if she wasn't, here's my thoughts. I'm not saying this is how a character is or anything like that, but she was like hella annoying in the beginning, so I have a right to say this. If you're going to be so materialistic to the point to where you want something expensive and just not take care of it, it's dumb. And literally, if she took care of the fish, none of this would have happened. If the fish was in a healthy tank, which, by the way, this is a decently sized fish. Like, it's a decently sized fish. It's probably the size of this can. No, it's probably like about this size. That's what she said. It's a decently sized fish. The tank doesn't seem to be that big. So with a fish that size, with a tank that size, is not in a good environment. It can barely swim around. So in reality, all of this is her fault. I didn't like her before because she was annoying, but now I really don't like her now because it's all her fault. She is the one that caused all of this. I sound like a broken record right now. Let's just move on. That just whole thing it really confused me, and it low-key kind of angered me. A little side note I want to make here. Ken is fine. They sent him off to a hospital, and newsflash, he's negative. Also, I just want to pin the time. 6:42 p.m. Keep that in mind. At 6:42 p.m., they send him off to the hospital, and he's tested negative. So while Ken is at the hospital, they have this whole apartment complex pretty much just emptied. Like, everybody's gone. They set up a barrier, I assume. They don't actually show a barrier, but I assume that they set up a barrier around the apartment. That way no one can enter, no one gets out. And they set a trap for the mosquitoes. So what they do is, it's honestly very simple. What they do is that they grab like big speakers, and honestly, while looking at it, it seems kind of childish, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. They grab these speakers and they put it at a certain frequency where mosquitoes don't like, and they put them around the apartment complex. And then they blast it. Mosquitoes go into this big beehive looking thing, and then they kill them. They kill all of them. And that's pretty much it. That's like, it's a very simple plan. Like a very simple plan. At the end of the volume, they cut to Ken and Niall on the sidelines, watching everything go down. And it's all happy. You know, everybody's happy, everybody's good. Ken asks why Niall has a camera. She pretty much says, the criminal could be here. The person that caused all this could actually be here. So why not just take pictures? Because you might see him. Then we cut to a taxi. A guy in a taxi, gray hair, wearing shades, and he's talking to the taxi guy. He tells the driver to take a detour to see the commotion, the chaos that he caused on his own. And with that being said, we find out that he has a second plan to his motive, because he wasn't expecting all this to go down the way it was. His exact words were, "In any event, I didn't think this would cause such a commotion. This has been unexpected. That said, it's a pleasant surprise. Now, the second part of my plan can begin." And then Ken sees the taxi turn, and Ken's like, yo, police officer, go follow that taxi. And that's how the volume ends. A lot goes on in this. A lot of important stuff goes on in this. I like this volume a lot better than the first. It was a good intro, but I feel like this one does a really good job at fleshing, you know, everything out. So, yeah, that's about it for volume 2. Have a good day.